Hi dear students, today we are going to have a look at Unit 5 on the Ready for First workbook, which you know is this one, okay? So we are going to have a look at it. I am going to show you the part of the grammar so you can be like watching at the screen, or you can also be like reading on your appendix. So let's get it started, okay? This unit is Unit 5, Obligation and Necessity. Right, so they are basically like modal verbs in general. Okay, first we're going to start with must, mustn't, plus infinitive without to. So when do you use must? Okay, must is used A, for strong obligations imposed by the speaker. The speaker uses must to express his or her authority. You must be here by 8 a.m. manager to employee. So if I am the boss, if I have the authority, I can tell someone else you must do that. B, to give a strong advice. It's a great film. You really must go and see it. So it's not that I am ordering you to go and see the film, but I'm telling you it's really good, so it's a strong advice. You must go and see it. Or you must eat more vegetables, things like that. Also, to tell oneself what is necessary. I must remember to phone Roger. So the thing is, um, this is not about an obligation which is imposed to you by an external authority. This is something that you imposed on yourself, right? Oh, I must wash my hair or whatever. And also you use must in signs and notices indicating rules and laws. Competition entries must be submitted by email. You must wear a swimming cap in the swimming pool. Okay, so in notices is very, very common, right? Then we have mustn't. Okay, mustn't is about prohibition. You mustn't do that. To talk about something that is not permitted. Passengers mustn't smoke on the aircraft. Children mustn't chew gum in the classroom. You mustn't drive without your seatbelt on in Britain. And also, to give a strong advice, you mustn't work too hard, you'll make yourself ill, right? So it's not that, I am not forbidding you to work hard, but I'm telling you that, you shouldn't work so hard. Okay, the thing is that must doesn't have a past form, so we have to use have to refer to the past. We have to write a formal email in the exam, okay? So, for example, when you remember rules that maybe you had at school when you were a child, and things like that, and you say, bueno, pues teníamos que llevar uniforme, teníamos que hacer tal cosa, so we have to wear a uniform, okay, in the past. So that's what you do, basically, right? So we move on. The question form, okay, you can use must in a question form. For example, must you wear the horrible dress? But have to is more common. I mean, if it's a question, it's more common to use have to. What do you have to do for homework? Yes? So, what's your obligation? Right. Then we have to and don't have to. And this is very important. Have to is used to refer to strong obligations imposed by another person rather by the speaker. So the thing is, if someone else, your teacher, your boss, the government, the police, the rules, whatever, something which is of someone who is not you, right, tells you to do something and it's an obligation, you have to use I have to. For example, I have to be at work by 8 o'clock. The boss will get angry if I am late, right? So it's important to distinguish the difference between when you say I must do something or I have to do something. Right, if I say, for example, I must clean the kitchen, that means that it's not an obligation. I mean, nobody is telling me, oh, you have to do that. It's something that I think is important and I do it because, right? But when you say I have to do something, it's because it is an external obligation, okay? So I could say, okay, I must clean the kitchen. You know, I'm not obliged, but I think it's important. But when you say I have to, is something else, yeah? So we say things like, okay, I have to pay taxes. Tengo que pagar impuestos. Me lo imponen desde fuera, okay? So it's I have to do things, right? Then we have don't have to. And don't have to expresses a lack of obligation. I am glad I don't have to wear a suit. It's so hot today. So please, this is important because people get very, very confused with this. Because you say you don't have to do something, um, it's like, I mean, you can do it if you want to. I mean, it's not necessary for you to do it, but you can do it. So, for example, I mean, I can say something like, okay, I don't have to wake up early in the morning. Es, no tengo que levantarme pronto por la mañana, pero si quiero levantarme a las 6 de la mañana, nadie me va a decir nada. I mean, the thing is that it is not necessary, but it's not a prohibition. Because if you say something to a child like, you don't have to eat chocolate. No tienes que comer chocolate, okay. That's not a prohibition. What you're saying to a child is, no tienes por qué comer chocolate, pero bueno, si quieres, come, right? So if you want to tell people that it's not good to do something, that it's forbidden to do something, it's you mustn't, ¿vale? You mustn't eat chocolate. You mustn't smoke here. If you say don't have to, it's different. Don't have to es no hace falta que hagas algo, pero bueno, si quieres, puedes. Okay? So remember that. Okay? Then we have need to, don't need to, and needn't. Okay. Need to is used to express necessity. Can we go to the baker's next? I need to get some bread. Right, so I need to do something. Necesito hacer algo. Don't need to and needn't express a lack of necessity. So we don't need to leave yet, or we needn't leave yet. It's only 2 o'clock. So the difference between don't need to and needn't, I mean, it's just that you use to with one, and the other one with needn't, you use the infinitive without to. I mean, I don't need to do exercise, or I needn't do exercise. That's all. Right, then we have should and shouldn't. Should and shouldn't is like, you know, really easy. Deberías, no deberías. It's like advice. You know, you should do more exercise. You shouldn't smoke so much. Well, that's it. You know, infinity without to. No mysteries with that. Also, you can use ought to, which is exactly the same. Yeah, ought to, which is like, you know, you ought to eat more vegetables. Right, then be supposed to and have better. Okay, be supposed to is used to talk about what you should be, what should be done because of a rule or because it is expected. Es decir, se supone que tú, se da por hecho que tú tienes que hacer lo que sea, okay? So, come on, it's 10 o'clock, you are supposed to be in bed. And look at the structure, it's like you are supposed to do something. I am supposed to do something. Obviously, you can also use it in the past, right? So if you want to say something, cuando iba al instituto se suponía que tenía que estudiar todos los días. So when I went to high school, I was supposed to study like every day, okay? So remember the structure. Like someone is supposed to do something, we are supposed to practice together, right? The other structure is have better, plus infinitive without to. Implies a warning of possible negative consequences if the advice or precaution is not taken. The negative is have better not. For example, we'd better not eat it, it might be poisonous. You'd better wear a hat, I don't want you to get a cold. So, ese you have better do something es como sería mejor que tú hicieras tal cosa o sería mejor que no hicieras tal cosa. Yeah, that's exactly the thing, right? So, for example, I think like, for example, I have better go to bed early today because I'm very tired. So I think it's much better. Okay, right. Then we have permission. Okay, to express permission is possible to use can, may, or be allowed to. I mean, you can do something, puedes hacer algo, or you can't, no puedes. May or may not is the same but more formal, okay? May I go to the toilet? Yes, you may, right? And also we have the passive structure be allowed to. Ser permitido, que se te permita. So you can say, well, in class I am not allowed to smoke. No se me permite. So is, or you can say to a child, hey, you are not allowed to use your mobile phone in class, right? Obviously, you can use it in the past. When I was a teenager, I wasn't allowed to go out at night, right? So in the negative is prohibition, or lack of permission. You can have a drink, but you can't have any crepes. Or we aren't allowed to wear trainers to school, right? Then could and was or were allowed to are possible for general permission in the past. For example, in my last job we have flexi time, so we could arrive more or less when we wanted to. Okay, when I say general permission means that we have permission to do something in general as a rule in the past, right? So, for example, when I was 17, I could go out until 1 a.m. That was the general rule, okay? Or I was allowed to go out until 1 a.m., as usual, okay? But could is not used when referring to a particular situation in the past. You can only use was or were allowed to. For example, I was allowed to stay up late at night, right? So I'm just going to make some more example about this, right? Just like going back to when we were like teenagers, okay, we are the adults. So as I said to you, when I was 17, my parents just let me go out until 1 a.m. So I could go out until 1 a.m., right? But then things were different maybe on particular occasions. So for example, if I was in my mother's village and it was the festivals of the village, then I was allowed to go out until later, 4 or 5. And that was permission for a particular occasion. So remember, for general permission, could or was allowed to, or for permission on one specific occasion, you cannot use could, you have to use I was allowed to, right? Okay, then we have let and make. Okay, both these verbs are followed by infinitive without to. So let is used to express permission. My dad doesn't let me watch that program. So it's let someone do something, dejarle a alguien hacer algo, permitírselo, right? Let is not normally used in the passive, yeah? So, for example, if I want to say something like, mi madre me dejaba ver películas de horror, I could say, okay, my mother let me watch horror movies, okay? Right? Oh, my mother didn't let me watch horror movies in the negative also. Then you have to use the expression to be allowed to, que es que se te permita. Yeah? So I wasn't allowed to go to the party on my own. Right? So you can use that. Then make is used to express obligation. It's like make someone do something. Hacerle a alguien que haga algo, es decir, obligarle a alguien que haga algo. right? So remember is infinitive without to. The teacher made her do some extra homework. So I remember when I was a child that I didn't like to wear dresses, and I remember like my mom and my aunt made me wear flowery dresses, like so I didn't like that. So made someone do, but remember that there is an exception, and it's very common for this exception to come up in the exams, and it's if you do it in the passive, then it's like someone is made to do something. You have to use to. So he was made to pay for the window he had broken. Le hicieron pagar por la ventana que había roto. So if you make it in the passive, remember that is I was made to do something. So now I will repeat my example in the active. My mother made me wear flowery dresses, or I was made to wear flowery dresses. So remember that. Okay. Okay. The next part of this unit is noun phrases. Okay, this is like easy, but bueno, you have to sort of like have a look at it. So let's have a look at it quickly. We have noun plus noun, okay? So in in a large number of commonly accepted compound nouns, the two nouns together describe a single idea. For example, a post office, a hand towel, a mouse mat. Yeah? Others are written as one word, a postman, a handbag, a mouse trap. And then probably you will ask me, how do I know the right way to write compound nouns? Okay, I'm really sorry. There are not many rules. Just you have to remember the way they go. So bad news, but it's not that difficult. So we move on. You also use like noun plus noun for containers. A teacup, a water bottle, an ice bucket, and one thing. If I say containers, I say containers because a wine glass is just la copa de vino, but without the wine, just a container. So remember, a wine glass, okay? Right. Also, we use the structure noun plus noun for things that occur or appear regularly. The evening flight, the weekend edition, the January sales. Okay? Right. So, then we have the structure in B, noun plus of plus noun. So, where no commonly accepted compound noun exists, for example, the time of the year, the sound of laughter, a lack of money. Well, with words like top, bottom, side, each, back, front, beginning, middle, and end to indicate a part of something. The bottom of the stairs, the back of an envelope, the front of the book, right? So, if you see these words, just remember that you have to use of, okay? Sometimes other types of noun phrases are also possible with these words. For example, the water's edge, the mountainside, the sea bottom, but you have to know which ones, right? So if you are in doubt, use the structure noun of noun, okay? Now, the other structure is for containers and their contents. A cup of tea, a box of tissues, a bucket of water. So, remember what I told you before about containers. If I want to say una copa de vino refiriéndome solo a la copa, al tipo de copa, that will be noun. That would be like a wine glass. But if I want to talk about container and contents, which means like the glass is full of wine, that will be a glass of wine. So remember that, okay? It's different. Then finally we have noun plus apostrophe s plus noun. So when talking about possession by a person or animal, possession by a person or animal, Lara's pen, the woman's house, my dog's basket, right? Also, for things that occur or appear at specific time, not at regular times, but specific times. Last night's match, Tuesday's storms, next week's edition. Okay, so remember that it's different, because we have um, the other structure, which is like noun for things that occur or appear regularly. So if I have to say something like el partido de los martes and it happens every Tuesday, that will be the Tuesday match, right? But if I want to say something like a specific time, para decir el partido del martes de este martes, sería this Tuesday's match, okay? Right. And also we use apostrophe to show duration. An hour's delay, 2 weeks holiday, 5 minutes rest. Okay, notice one thing. If the noun is plural, okay, what you do is you put the apostrophe and nothing else. Okay? And that's it. Now you can read the grammar again and you can do the exercises on your workbook, on student's book. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Have a happy day.